Hello gang, it's me again. I'm just going to start inking this video. As you can see, doing an inking video. As you can see, I have successfully transferred the pencils onto the Bristol board, and what I aim to do is ink it. Yeah, that's what I aim to do. So I'm going to ink it. So are you with me? All right, I'll let you watch this. Yeah, sorry, I've a bit lost for words at the moment because I'm just trying to get it to work properly, get the video to work properly. Okay, I'm just waiting for it to catch up and then I'll start inking. Okay, lovely. That's right, Peter, inking time. Yeah. Okay, right, so let's get a outline pen, which will be a 0.4, and I'll get a 0.1, which is slightly smaller outline pen. I'll use my 0.2 as well, a 0.8 for filling, and a 0.05 for detail. So great stuff. And I've probably break out one of the big boys today as well. One of the colouring filling pens that I've got as well. The big black, yeah, the big boy here. Okay, so that's great stuff. So yeah, let's crack on. As you can see, I've already as I've said earlier, I've transferred the pencils over to Bristol board and I've tightened them up a little bit. But what I've also done is I've taken the first layer of graphite off the image, making it fade so it's easier for the ink application to the paper. What that does, it turns the opacity. If you are working in a digital format, it turns the opacity down, so it fades the pencil back and it just makes the ink easier to apply to the paper. So that's lovely. I'm going to start off with the chair that he's sitting on. I'm going to use the 0.4 for the outline and then I'll crack on. Alright, okay, so let's have a look and see where we are. Right, move that over just a touch. Okay, right, I'm just going to need to quickly check. Okay, right. Reload. Okay. Back in. Okay. Great stuff. Okay. Oh, swapping pens. Yeah. just need to dig out a filling pen suitable. Okay. Great stuff. Excuse me, sorry. Right, okay. Just waiting for the video to catch up. Right. So I might just turn this here. Okay, lovely. Right, what I'm going to try and focus on now, just a little bit to get the detail going, is the pouch on his arm. So that's great stuff. Oh, something's interfering with me being able to turn the paper around, so I'm just going to adjust what's on the side. Way, I've just bashed the camera. I do apologise. All right. Okay, so let's. Earthquake! Yay! Okay, alright. Bring this round like that. Just gonna make sure. See, I can't really see whether I'm in shot at the moment, so I might just have to adjust the camera angle. Okay. Right, now I can see where I am. Okay. So you can see what I'm drawing. Okay. All good? Yeah? Okay. Right, so as I was saying earlier on my previous video, what I do, the way I work when I transfer it onto Bristol board, it gives me a chance to fine-tune the pencils that I've already done. So it gets me to iron out any kinks or anything that I don't like in the original pencils, and I can adjust it accordingly, and then I can work out what strokes and what pens I'll need for each particular section of the sketch. So yeah, it just makes my life a little bit easier if I just allows me to have a practice run, what I call a dry run. So yeah, this appears to be working, so it's all good. So what I'm doing is, at the moment, I'm just focusing on the area of the pouch. So lovely. Or the pocket, or the, I don't know what they call them. Arm pouch. Arm pouch will do, won't it? Yeah. And what I'll do is, I've given this pocket a little ridge, so I know it's probably not obvious to you, but I can see the difference in line weight between the 0.1, sorry, the 0.4 and the 0.1 here. So I'm using a 0.05 to bring this crease in a little tighter. So yeah, just allows it to sit nice and healthy. A little bit more detail on a smaller level. I'm going to do that here as well. Yep, that's working. So I'm just going to bring this line nice and cozy up here as well. And then, yeah, this is nice. I'm liking the way these lines are working at the moment. So yeah, the 0.05 is my detail pen. Now I have another 0.05, but I use that for filling. That's when the pen gets a little bit old. And the nib starts to go, but you can still use that old pen for filling in tight little tiny areas of black if you're not confident about using a bigger nibbed pen. So yeah, and what I'll do is to give some little bit of the authenticity to these creases here in the pouch. I'll carry on using the 0.05 detail pen, just as like a tiny little outline pen for now, and then lovely whack that in like that. Okay, so I'm just gonna now see, I was just about to draw a line out of my stroke comfort zone, so I will turn the paper in just a tick-tock. I just need to get these lines down here. I want to see what they're going to look like. I can always thicken them up. Okay, looks cool. Any questions so far? No? Okay then. Okay, right. Yeah, that's okay. Right, so just going to rotate it slowly, just so I get to an angle that I'm comfortable with. And again, let's just check. Yep, that's a nice angle to do these lines. So we're just trying to create a little bit, either these creases or little bits of shadow. It don't matter. Just adds a little bit more detail. Not too much detail that it makes it too busy, but it just gives a nice little bit of depth to the pouch itself. Okay, and we'll do a nice little separation line of shadow there. Nice little ridge of the pocket flap there. Yeah. I'm liking how we're doing this pocket so far. So yeah. Oh, nearly out my comfort zone, so I'm just going to hopefully turn it back round. Cool, right. Okay. Now I'm just going to turn it slightly again. Just going to make sure the pen's in shot. Okay. Lovely. Great shot. So what we got? Any comments so far? Can't see any at the moment. Great stuff. Okay. Well, it's not great stuff. I want to chat. Okay. Right. So there we are. Bit of the pouchiness. Yeah. Pouchiness. Got some straight detail lines there. So that seems to be working. Excuse me. So. Yeah, a little bit more detail on here, and then I'm going to just add a touch more detail there. Right, okay, I have a question about these live videos, not just to get an answer out of somebody, but with the, you know how Facebook is, like you got a device like a tablet or a phone, and it always constantly says, oh, there's an update available. Well, I've noticed something on my live feeds that's saying, like, say for argument's sake, sorry Mark, I'll use an example. It says, Mark Jenkins is watching, bring them on camera. Now, I don't know what that means. If anybody could find out what bringing that, what that actually does do, please let me know, because I'm interested to know, because I don't know. Bring them on camera. I don't know what that means. I do not know what that means. So I'm a bit stuck. So if you do know, let me know, because it's just it's something because I don't think to ask the Facebook help desk. Oh God, no. I'm just rotating, making sure right, is that in shot. Okay, just to get here. Right, back to the line work. Okay, lovely. That's great stuff. Okay. Now, what I'm going to do is, I've still got the detail pen in my hand, so what I'll do, I'll just get these tiny little lines done here, like the shadow outline here, and there, and there. That's lovely. And then that stroke again, and then that stroke again. Lovely. Great stuff. Wash, wash, wash. So I'm just going to take a couple of moments just to fill these areas in. Now there's a couple of areas that are a little bit too tight for my bad boy in black. So I'm just going to quickly jut in there and do it this way. Oh, and before I forget, don't want to forget the outline of the trim on the sleeve there, so I'm just going to bring that line down nice and comfy, so I've got a nice outline to fill into. Right, shaping up okay so far. What do I need? What do I need? I need a filling pen, a little bit thicker, just to save a little bit of time. Like that. Can we all see what I'm up to? Yeah, can you see? Okay, lovely. Just a little bit more as well, just to save a little bit of time. Just literally just touching, so I'm not being too intrusive on the original outline. So yeah, because they are intricate little bits and bobs. And then I'll just use the 0.05 filler pen that I have to bring that all nice and tight. So, yeah. I really should get a secondary lamp, because the shadow of my hand from the light above me, not that this one here, that one in my study, is casting like a shadow on the paper, and sometimes that can interfere with the flow of your inks, because you might be seeing stuff or formations that isn't there, and it can impact on your image if you get it wrong. So yeah, I'm just going to check that. Yeah, that's okay. Yeah, that's all right. Yeah, I'll just do this bit here. Yeah, that's good. Okay, and then we'll just move on to this bit. Yeah, this pen, the one I've got in my hand at the moment, this used to be one of my outline and detail pens, but because I used it so much, the nib is going. It's still quite thin, but it doesn't have the accuracy that I need. So I try not to throw my pens away. I give them another job after I've used the 0.05. So yeah, that's sitting pretty at the moment, isn't it? Okay. This is fairly cool. This is working. So I'm just going to go into these creases here that we have. Yeah. How are peeps anyway? They alright? All good in the hood? Yeah, I bet they are. Okay. So yeah, that's worked. Just double check it. Yeah, that looks right, doesn't it? Then we've got the shadow of the button, or the catch, or the stub, or whatever it is. thingamajig that keeps the pocket closed. Right, now I'm going to move to a slightly thicker one for this. My confidence is growing with this black area here, so I'm just going to have a quick wiggle. Awesome. Right, so that's the pouch finished, I'd say. Yeah, because what this black area here is the shadow cast from the light source that's here. So yeah, I'm just going to see if I can work on the sleeve a little bit more in that surrounding area. So I'm just going to go and grab my 0.1. Just going to turn the page again, making sure that I got to make sure that the inks are in shot. So I'm just going to try and make sure. Okay, that's where the pen's going to fall. Right, lovely. Okay. Yeah, I think this 0.1 might be on its way out as well. Again, it won't get chucked away, it will get turned into a filler pen to allow me to colour in. That just means I can be a little bit rougher with it now. Okay, let's give that shadow a nice thick outline. That's great. Here we go. Lovely. Lovely, lovely. Okay, now let's create some, let's give you some areas of black here. Let that dry, because this pen that I'm using, it's an old pen that I used to use back in the 90s when I first started to consider drawing as my occupation, and in the late 90s they stopped. For some strange reason I couldn't find them, so I was a little bit, I couldn't find them anymore, so I had to move on to technical drawing pens. So that's fine, that's fair enough. It's just that pen created a sense of line, like different line thickness, but the only bad thing about it is it smudges. So it was okay that I stopped. It's sad that I couldn't find them anymore, but it's good because now it doesn't. My work doesn't get smudged as much. So every cloud, eh? So I've just moved back to the detail pen to do these tiny little stitches on the trim of the helicopter pilot's overall. And then I'll move on to the sleeve itself. That's great stuff. Okay, yeah, because again, there's a little tiny, I don't know if you can see it, there's a shadow caused by the trim and some of the pouch there on the arm of the sleeve, and there's a tiny little white line between the shadow that comes on the pouch on the trim. So there's a tiny little difference in shadow groups. So yeah, it's the same thing as down here, just here, so you can see it. See, it works. It's one of those tiny little things I like to do. If I see something that looks as though it could do with it, I do it. So yeah, because it's a bit of fun for me. Yeah. So I'm just going to quickly get this outline done for this part, and then I'll move on to the detail of the sleeve. Lovely, great stuff. Now, where are we going, eh? Where are we going? Right, so where's the pen? Where do we want the pen? We want the pen there, so I'm going to move the paper up just a bit. So that's lovely. Oh, that's a good idea, I can do that in the future. So I'm just doing the slightly smaller outline of the trim, pulling that into there like that. Okay, right, and then we'll bring that back up and round like that. So that's a nice little bit of shadow that's caused by the cuff of the sleeve. Lovely. So I'm just going to get my 0.05, just going to do tiny little stitches down the sleeve trim. Okay. Okay. I think I'm just going to have to check my reference for this picture, which was the previous picture that I drew of the pilot, because I do believe he has a crease or a seam on the uniform halfway up his arm. Yes, he does, and I've just seen that, and that's something I've now got to draw in, but it's okay because I can do that right away. Okay, just need to have a look. Now, it was up here, so I'm just going to find a nice little comfy space for the new line. I wouldn't normally do something like this on an inking illustration that I've already done, but I just want it to work. Okay, right, that's fine. Okay, that's fine. Lovely. And then I'm just going to imply a little bit of detail with the outline pen down like that. So we're creating like a seam like that. See? Okay, now that's relatively okay. Yeah, that's all right like that. Let's give it a little bit of shadow there. Then I'll move back in like that. Yeah, great. And I'm going to give him some stitching here. Just there, that'll do. Slightly smaller stitches. That's fair enough, isn't it? Yeah, that works. And then this breaks up the crease of the fold, or the fold there, which I will do now. Great stuff. We're just going to move back to the 0.1. You have to excuse me if I don't always say when I switch the pen. I do tend to work quite fast and go into my zen and flow. If that makes sense, my line work flow. So yeah, this is working. Oh, that's interesting what I've just done. I don't think I'm going to need a detail pen to do these creases. I think I'll just use the 0.1. Okay. Lovely. Just add a couple more lines, because as I've probably mentioned on my previous videos, you can get the same effect from like a 0.05 from a 0.1. You just press lighter on the paper or the Bristol board that you're using to draw on. Yeah, so that works. See, it does work. Yeah, that's nice. Yep, and then we'll go to the 0.8, and then we'll just quickly fill in these areas here. Nice creases in the material of the overall. Now, I don't know whether these would fall under the category of compression wrinkles, but I just think they look cool on the sleeve. So yeah, let's bring the camera, let's bring that up a little bit so you can see what I'm doing a little bit better. Okay, lovely, so that's working. Oh, let's just give him a little bit more shadow under here with the crease, because it connects to the seam nice and jubbly. Okay, great. All right, marvellous. So let's start off with some more bits. 0.1. Great stuff. Right, I'm just going to check the comments. Right, I've got one from Peter. Do you doodle much, or are you very focused? Well, my doodles often start very, very small, and then what I do, that's how I sometimes get my picture, that's how I get the ideas, like if I've got an idea of what I want to draw from a script, I start off by doodling a rough pose, and then I basically blow that up, that pose, and I work on it in more detail. That's how the mayhem starts usually, Peter, because what I'll do here at this point, since you've mentioned that, I usually work quite small, so let me just see if I've got the original doodle. No, that's the pencils. That's the second from last pencils. Okay, oh yes, I've got them. I'll just quickly show you. Right, so we've got the pencils here that I'm inking currently, just here. And then this was the original doodle, or sketch, or template that I did. I drew this at 3 o'clock yesterday afternoon, just before I went to work in my new normal mortgage paying job. This was the original doodle. I blew it up, and then I added more and more detail, and I got to this stage. Yeah, so I try to just keep it loose on the doodles, because some really cool accidents happen when you're doodling, and then you tighten that all up and you bring it, wind it in, as it were, and you just refine it. That's the word that I wanted to use, refine. You refine your pencils, get them nice and tight, so it may basically this is a thing I picked up when I read a Brian Bolland interview. Brian Bolland illustrated a graphic novel called The Killing Joke. It's a Batman graphic novel. It's really good. And I read this interview with him, and he said if you can get all of the work done, I think it's not word for word, but I think basically what he said was, if you can get all of the work done in your pencil stage, then it makes the inks easier. So you're literally, I mean, you can still go off script with the inks if you wanted to, or if you find it further refines your pencils, but that's up to you, isn't it? But I thought, oh, that particular thing he said just stuck with me, and it just said, yeah, that's prep. So you can never do enough prep, well, you can do enough prep, but it's always good to do enough, And the focus just comes with process. I mean, I have a certain process, I have a certain way of drawing. I try to adhere to that way of drawing every single time, like moving the paper to a line that I would find particularly difficult. I would move the paper so the line is easier to my most comfortable stroke. That's another part of my process. Yeah, it's just stuff that I've taught myself over a period of about 25-30 years. So yeah, and as I said in my earlier video, I'm still learning, so you never stop. It's still fun. It's just good to tell stories, man. I'm looking forward to releasing the book in January. In fact, I've got a couple of books I've got ideas for. So the second book, the work, it's going to be a sketchbook. I've probably mentioned it before. It's going to be a sketchbook of certain stuff like inks like this, the pencil templates, the initial sketches. It's just all going to go in there, and I think I've got enough for a couple of volumes. So, as well as the main first part of the comic, I've also got some other artwork to put in a book, so that's all good. About 3 bloody years worth. 3-4 years worth, actually. And another good discipline I find is to try and draw every day, either draw or write. Try and do it every day. If I can't draw, I write, and if I can't write, I read. So, all good, man. Just got to try and keep my brain ticking, that's all. And I always end up getting ideas on how to draw certain stuff when I haven't got access to my drawing board, or when I can't draw. It's always a pain. It's like I went to a book launch in Exeter a couple of years ago, about this time, roughly about this time last year. Not last year, in Exeter in 2015, I think. Yeah, 2015, where I contributed to a book that was set in the West Country. It was H.P. Lovecraft. It was a Eldritch tale set in the West Country. It was called Secret Invasion. And the other people that I worked with were absolute smashers. They're lovely, very creative people. And they were writers. I was a writer and an artist, so I ended up doing a little bit of work for the book. And going back to what I was initially saying, my radio in my car on the drive down was broken. No, it wasn't broken. I could only get one channel, and that wasn't a very good channel, and I didn't really want to listen to that. So whilst I was driving, I ended up writing the sequel to the story that I'd written for the book in my head. So I ended up having to stop a couple of times and make some notes in a notebook. So that was quite cool. And by the time I got to Exeter to do the book launch, the sequel, I'd got the synopsis, the plot, basically done in 4 hours. No script, just the plot, just the idea of where the story was going. And I was quite pleased, and I thought, wow, I need more drives like that. And on the way back home the following day, I ended up writing the sequel to the sequel, which I haven't drawn yet. But again, the stories that I have written and illustrated over the past 2 years will be the one that I originally wrote, and its sequel will be released again next year. So that'll be cool to see those again. I want to see them get a little run, see how far I get with that. So yeah, I think my friend Mark, who may still be watching, might be very well be interested in that, because it is Lovecraft, and we belong to a group of Lovecraft enthusiasts. So yeah, I'm looking for. There's a lot of stuff going on. It's good to be busy, you know. Good to be busy. Right. You know what, guys? I think I'm going to have to love and leave you, because I've got. I think my dinner's ready. I think I was cooking some chicken breasts, and I think I've lost track of time, so I've just got to go and have something to eat, and then I might jump on this as soon as I've eaten. Okay. All right. So I'll see you soon. Yeah, sorry to be a pain to cut the video short, but again, you can catch me on Instagram as Stephen Tricky, on Twitter as Stephen Tricky, and on here on Facebook. On Facebook, you can catch me as Stephen Tricky, or you can follow my page known as the Stephen Tricky Sketchbook. If you want to follow me, you can. If you don't worry about it then. I'll just catch you when I catch you. And I'm still working on how to get the my Facebook videos onto YouTube, to upload directly onto YouTube, because they're a little bit more spontaneous than the videos that I've recorded for YouTube. So lovely. Right, so again, I'll see you soon, guys. Thank you very much for watching. I will be back in a little while. I've just got to have some food and probably a cup of tea, and then I'll see you shortly. All right, thank you. Thanks for watching, guys. Take care. Be safe.